What is up, my Shadowverse soldiers, and welcome back to another Shadowverse Evolve video. Alright soldiers, so in this video we're going to be going over the Abysscraft reveals for Idolmaster Cinderella Girls. I'm very excited to see what these cards are going to look like, so let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, so we have our first card, Ranko Kanzaki Cinderella Girl. So she's a 5-cost 5/5. She has Ward. When she comes to play Fanfare, you can select the enemy fall on the field and destroy it. And then Necrocharge 5, you can give your leader +3 defense. And then if you have Necrocharge 10, you can deal 3 damage to each enemy leader. You can also activate for less than 1 to draw a card, and then activate only once per turn. Alright, so it looks like Abysscraft has another 5-cost card we can maneuver for the magic train. So I know I usually look into the archetype for most of these cards. So really what this is going to do for cool is this is another card that you can play that can give you hard removal, heal, deal 3 damage for playing a card and having a ward. That's cool. But I'm going to be looking at this head more in Departed because this is a 5-cost card. You can maneuver for the train. You can deal 3 damage and then your leader healing yourself for 3, and then with the magic train you're going to be healing yourself for 2. We're not going to worry about the lesson too much just because in the normal Abysscraft deck we're not going to have some magical items. But for the cool deck you can play this card and then draw a card if you need to. Alrighty, and moving on into our next card, we have Soyoko Hoshi Individual. So she's a 2-cost 3/2. When she comes into play Fanfare, bury the top 2 cards of your deck. You can also activate for 1 play point and less than 2 to engage this, and select 2-cost or less Idolmaster Cinderella follower in your cemetery. Put it into your EX area and it costs 2 less to play this turn. Activate only once per turn. Alrighty, so it's looking like Passion has a way to play a little bit on the low end too. So for a total of 3 play points, we can go ahead and bury the top 2 cards of our deck. We can play this card, have a 3/2, and then for the 1 extra play point using those 2 lessons, we can put a 2-cost Idolmaster Cinderella Girl follower as long as they're 2 or less into the EX area. We can play it, they get their fanfares, and we'll have 2 cards on board. Alrighty, next we have Mirai Hayasaka Individual. So she's a 2-cost 2/3, and while there are at least 10 Idolmaster cards in your cemetery, this follower has Storm. She also has a strike ability, so when she swings, you can select the enemy fall on the field. If there are at least 10 Idolmaster cards in your cemetery, you can deal it 2 damage, but when she comes to play Fanfare, you bury the top 2 cards of your deck. Alright, so I'm not gonna lie, I really am liking that these cute followers are going to be low-cost cards that are gonna be getting Storm. So of course, with the other cards we are gonna be playing, we're gonna be playing Ward so we can stall out the game, Heal so we can stall out the game, but having these low bodies that are gonna be putting out like pressure in terms of damage, and of course, it probably might be not too apparent having the 10 cards in Cemetery to deal 2 damage to a follower. That might not matter too much, but when we do get those 10 in Cemetery, we're probably going to be in a lot more play points than 2, so we'll be able to do a combination of abilities with most of these cards. Alrighty, next up we have Nono Morikubo Individual. So she's a 2-cost 1/1. You can evolve her for 1, and whenever a follower with Mirai Hayasaka or Soyoko Hoshi in its name is put onto your field, you can give it +1/+1. Alright, so I can really see the potential of this card. So when you do get to play either of the other cards, you do get a combination of abilities. So if you play with the Mirai, you can swing with 1 more points of damage in terms of giving it the buff. But if you do go for the Soyoko Hoshi, you have that extra card that you're going to be getting out of your cemetery. So being able to give her the +1/+1 to make it very hard for your opponent to remove your 3-card board, then that's going to be pretty good. Alright, so looking at Nono Morikubo Evolve, so she turns into a 2/2, and whenever a follower with Mirai Hayasaka or Soyoko Hoshi is still on your field, you give it +1/+1. But on Evolve, you look at the top 4 cards of your deck, you may summon a 2-cost or less Idolmaster Cinderella Girl follower from among them, and put the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. And would you look at that, we have an evolve ability that allows us to get either one of either cards. And the best thing about that is these followers don't have evolve, so they're still going to be able to do their activate abilities, either in terms of being able to swing as long as you have 10 cards in your cemetery, or you're still going to be burying the top 2 and then getting a Storm follower as well. Alrighty, next up we have Asuka Ninomiya Sweet and Charming. So she's a 2-cost 3/2. While there are at least 3 cool followers on your field, this has Storm, but you can also Fanfare for 2 extra play points and 1 lesson. You can search your deck for a follower with Ranko Kanzaki in its name and put it into your EX area, then shuffle, and it costs 4 less to play this turn. Alright, so far how I'm assessing this ability is for a total of 4 play points and the 1 lesson. We can go ahead and get the Ranko Kanzaki and put it into our EX area. It's 4 less to play, so we can go ahead and play it. We're probably not going to hit the 3 cool followers unless we already establish a card on turn before we play the Asuka, or if we have the extra play point and whatnot whenever we do go for the Ranko Kanzaki. But we do want to go for at least 3 cool followers in 1 turn, so making sure you have that 1 extra cool follower on field or in your hand if it's like 1 or less, just because the Ranko Kanzaki is not going to play you that 3rd card. Alrighty, next up we have Chitose Kurosaki Memento Mori. So she's a 3-cost 3/3. You can evolve her for 1, but when she comes into play Fanfare, less than 1, you can select enemy fall on the field and deal 1 damage, and then give your leader 1 defense. Alright, for 3 play points, a little bit lackluster. Most definitely, hopefully the evolve will definitely combo with the Fanfare here. Alright, and then looking at the Chitose Evolve, so she turns into a 4/4, but on evolve you select the enemy fall on the field and deal it 3 damage, then you bury the top 2 cards of your deck. Just a little side note before we start talking about these abilities, or I guess I'm still talking about the abilities here, but a lot of these Abysscraft cards are just allowing you to bury the top two, so they're going to be very good for the EX set. If you're going to be playing some sort of Necrocharge deck and you don't have all the Necrocharge pieces, I think these are a lot of budget options that you can definitely look at. So if you need to do some heavy Necrocharge, start looking into the set for some Necrocharge cards. Alright, but be it as it may, being able to do a total of 4 damage as long as you have the magical item in your EX area to a follower and then burying the top 2 cards. And of course, if that follower that they left reserved and you're able to still swing in with another follower for the 4/4, I think that's a pretty good combo play. Alright, and moving on next, we have Natsuki Kimura Scarlet Love Song. So she's a 3-cost 3/3, you can evolve her for 1, and while there are at least 10 passion cards in your cemetery, this has Storm, but when it comes to the play fanfare, if there are at least 5 cost or greater Idolmaster followers that are on your field, you can evolve this. Alright, yeah, and I like that the most. Being able to have a 3-cost follower that we're able to play for free off of one of our 5-cost or more greater Idolmaster cards for passion, that's what we do. We kind of fill up the board with cards that we play for free. Being able to evolve this for free and then having it as a Storm follower is something very good. Alright, so looking at the Natsuki Kimura evolve, so she turns into a 4/4 and she still has the 10 passion cards in cemetery. This follower has Storm, but on evolve you can select enemy follower on the field and deal it X damage. X equals 2 times the number of passion followers on your field. Alright, so a huge hypothetical, of course, if you manage to get 5 passion followers on the field, you're going to be doing 10 damage to a follower, which is pretty good. And on top of that, you're going to have a huge field full of passion followers, but the one thing about passion is some of those cards are going to be going back to your hand, so if you manage to do this and this card has to go back to your hand, that is very unfortunate. Alrighty, next up we have Takumi Mukai No One Can Stop Me. So she is a 6-cost 5/5, she has Rush and Assail, and during your turn when an Idolmaster card on your field deals damage to 1 or more enemy followers on the field, you can deal 1 damage to each enemy leader. But when she comes to play fanfare, you select a passion follower that costs 3 or less in your cemetery and then summon it. Well, would you look at that, this card pairs up very well with Natsuki, so being able to play this and then being able to rush into a reserved follower, which is going to be pretty good because we can still ping the enemy leader for 1 there. And then we do get the Natsuki from our cemetery. If we have the 10 Idolmaster cards, that follower is going to get Storm. And then since we have the 5 or more, we can evolve her for free, so that's going to be amazing too. Alrighty, next up we have Kome Shirasaka Haunted Gown. So she's a 3-cost 2/2. When she comes into play fanfare, you can select a 3-cost or less cool follower from your cemetery not named Kome Shirasaka. If there are 3 cool followers on your field, you can summon it. You can also activate for 1 play point and 1 lesson to engage this card and search your deck for a last daylight and put it into your EX area, and it costs 2 less to play this turn. Alright, so clear cut how it's going to work is you initially want to play the other 2 cool followers as 1-cost cards so you can get the most out of the last daylight that you do use the 1 play point and 1 lesson for if you're going to be doing it. So being able to have those 1-cost cards get the extra +1 attack while also dealing 3 damage with the last daylight is going to definitely help, and on top of that, you do have the fanfare of Komoe. If you already have the 3 followers on field, you can get that 4th one from your cemetery. Alrighty, and lastly we have Self-Proclaimed Fan Favorite. So it's a 2-cost spell card, so you can choose 1. If there are at least 5 Q cards in your cemetery, you can choose up to 2 instead. You can either 1, select enemy follower on the field and deal the 4 damage, 2, search your deck for a follower with Sachiko Koshimizu in its name, summon it and give it Drain, then shuffle, or you can 3, put a magical item token into your EX area. Alright, so you're only going to be choosing 1 of these if you're not playing the cute archetype, so being able to either choose to do 4 damage to something, getting a Sachiko, which is a 2-cost card that comes into play and deals you 2 damage, and you have 10 or less defense, she has Storm and Bane, which can definitely come in handy since she does gain Drain too with this spell card. And then of course, if you're going to be playing this in the Q deck, Passion or Cool, you can put a magical item token into your EX area, because come on, we're going to be doing a lot of lessons in this deck. Alrighty, and then here are our SPs for Abysscraft. They actually look very good. Out of all the ones that we've looked at for so far, I mean, I really do love the SP and U cards for these crossover sets because they are high rarity and they do look good. But for anyone who is going to be interested in picking up these SP cards, I hope you're able to pick them up. And then of course for our Shadowverse Evolve gamers who are actually playing the game, nothing, you know, discrediting the collectors or anyone who wants to pick up the higher rarity cards, you know, do the freedom of whatever you want to do. We do have the U's, which are going to be most commonly put into the decks for the bling, or if you're just a collector as well and you just want the U cards and want the text box, then, you know, be free as it may as what you want to do with them. But these are the cards that are going to be for the U's. And alrighty soldiers, that is all the cards for Abysscraft. I know that this set looks really good for Necrocharge. There's just a lot of cards that vary the top 2. And then for the Idolmaster deck, there's going to be a lot of followers that get Storm with these low costing cards. But alright soldiers, make sure you are safe in whatever you do tonight and safe whatever you do for the rest of the year. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.
Yeah. TRINN. Just to get you away. What I got to do, what I got to do.